Hello, everybody, and welcome to That Real Texas Team podcast number 4. I'm the host of the channel. With me, as always, Ron Dog 74. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, it's going all right. It's going all right.
Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna have a big show. It's gonna be primarily Stefon Diggs is the conversation, but it's there are so many ripple effects that this will have. I'm very excited for this. I think this is going to be, something huge for CJ Stroud, but we'll also get into how those impacts the draft. And everybody, does everybody still want another playmaker? Does this satisfy that urge? You know what I mean? Like, how far away are we from feeling like this is probably the best offense we've ever fielded? That's
Honestly, I think this is probably one of the best that we've ever had.
yeah. In terms
Minus,
of games at every position,
yeah,
yes. Yeah.
minus a couple offensive linemen here and there.
Yeah.
Just some depth on that. But other than that, I think we're pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, we've got one of the, top flight left tackles,
Mm-hmm.
one of the probably top 10 tight ends in the league. Nico Collins lit it up last year. Tank Dell lit it up when he was healthy.
Yeah.
And then Stefon Diggs on a down year, 107 receptions, 1183, 8
He still,
touchdowns.
still got over 1,000. So I mean,
Yeah, he was almost at 1,200.
yeah,
Which would have it was a total of like 230 yards difference between his
yeah,
best season and last season.
yeah. Well, I think his best season. See, I have it right here. His best season was a 1535, and that was back in 2020.
Oh, okay.
So still, 1183. That's not bad.
No.
That's pretty good for. In my opinion, he's probably a top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah. Well, before we get any further in depth with that, folks, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. We're trying to grow the channel. If you didn't catch the last episode, we had Charles James 2, the sequel, Deuce. That Dose. I don't know. Any other ways I was trying to think of saying 2. You may know him from Hard Knocks and other stuff. So go check him out. He was also a former Texan, former Colt for a time. I believe he was also on the Jags. The only team he didn't spend any time with in the South was the Titans. Yeah. So we're at 8 subscribers. Let's see that number jump into the double digits. That'd be huge. And share it with your friends. Any Texans friends you got out there, please share us with us. Share us with them, and we'll try to do right and cover this team the right way. With that being said, woke up this morning to the best news possible. Stefon Diggs traded to the Houston Texans. I saw the news, the headline, and I was like, what did we give up? That was my first thought. I was like, what did we give? He's 30 years old. So I doubt it was a first round pick.
Yeah. My first thought was,
go ahead.
So my first thought was it's one of those late April Fool jokes that just popped up on my feed or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this can't be real. So I looked it up and got more research on it, and I was surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. Looked it up, and a 2025 second round pick that we actually got from Minnesota in the trade back this year. We still have both of our second round picks this year. And we also have we get Stefon and a 5th next year and a 6th this year. So we actually net one pick. Casario's wheeling and dealing. On top of all the capital we saved a little bit on the money end too, because Buffalo ate $31 million in dead cap money to get the deal done. They have $3 million less cap dollars for 2024 than they did before Stefon Diggs left the building. So to me tells me that they wanted to move on from him so bad that It didn't matter. As long as they could get away from him, they were
Yeah.
fine. And that's what worries me about Stefon Diggs. When an
Well,
organization that brought you in and traded a first round draft pick for you, um, is just willing to eat a large chunk of your contract and, kinda come out fleeced on a trade for that player who's been productive and only missed games when he's been benched because they were, you know, not gonna play week 17 anyway with the starters. So, I'm worried. I'm a little worried, but CJ Stroud's
well,
got a strong personality, so
we'll see. What I've noticed in the last 5, 6 years is he's not a cold weather player. He strives in warmer weather. I don't. And then you can go look back at the tapes. You can see like his stats in a cold game compared to a warmer game. So I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna do very well in Houston. Just being that a really big factor.
yeah. I think he's going to play well enough to make this trade look even more like a fleece,
Hmm.
and well enough to the point where they're going to restructure his contract or something at some point. But
Yeah,
I think it's like 19 million base salary or something at the moment.
yeah,
Um, but there is an out if he doesn't perform well after the first year. You
hmm,
can kind of just eat like $10 million of it, and he's gone
yeah.
uh, via cutter trade. So I think this is a solid move, just like any way you slice it. I also don't think that we need him to come in and be wide receiver one. I think we can still let Nico Collins be wide receiver one
Yeah.
and have Stephon Diggs be like 1A. And
Well,
then
I
we
mean,
still Tank Dell.
even even if he's a three, he would still be a big part of the offense. Because we're a spread offense, so we always have at minimum 2 to 3 receivers on the field at all times, plus our tight end. So I mean, and then just all the additions that we've had to this team, we still have really good 4 or 5 receivers. Noah Brown, you know. So I
Mechie.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Mechie too. So we have a really good receiving core. In my opinion, uh, I don't think we need to go after any receivers in the draft per se, unless unless they're not planning to go further with Nico after this year.
Yeah.
And then, who knows what they're going to do with Mechie throughout the year, and before the trade deadline, and then Xavier Hutchinson. So uh, even if they do, it's not going to be horrible. You got some depth for the next year just in case you make those cuts. So, I mean, back to what you were saying.
You're good, brother. Robert Woods, I feel like this kind of puts him on the roster bubble. I could see the Texans trading him for a 6th or 7th round draft pick before the draft or during the draft,
Hmm.
uh, or using him in part of a package to move up. However, I know he's quite the locker room guy,
Yeah.
and it's something that they're trying to build there, and that might be pretty influential for um, Stefon Diggs, but he might be a little too set in his ways. But so, do you think that there's a world now where post Stefon Diggs trade where the Texans still feel the need to draft a wide receiver?
If it was my team and I was in control of everything, I wouldn't, just because we do have a great wide receiver core. Everybody's a playmaker. Everybody has potential to. Shit, we have 3 receivers straight up that could potentially have 1,000 yard season next year.
Yeah,
Tank Dell was well on his way there. Then you got Nico, and now we have Stefon. He's had 1,000 yards for seasons for the last 6 years.
yeah.
So you know we have. I don't think we need to.
Okay. I think it opens it up possibly to adding more to the tight end room and offensive linemen now.
Yeah,
Those I feel like kind of get bumped up the hierarchy. And then probably maybe like a late round guy, running back wise.
yeah,
But uh, I mean, the addition of Diggs is not only going to help Nico Collins and Tank Dell, it's going to help Dalton Schultz have the biggest year possible. If he can stay healthy, Dalton Schultz has the potential to have wide open looks across the middle of the field because
Mhm.
everybody's going to be focusing on wide receiver 1 through 3.
Yep.
And
There's
if,
gonna it's gonna be constant zone coverage on us.
yeah,
Constant.
yeah, because there's just, you got to treat everybody
Hmm.
like they're a superstar at that point. And when you got to treat
Yeah,
everybody like that, it's basically like treating them like they're scrubs,
yeah. I
just
mean,
a little
yeah,
faster.
we have four superstar. I'm gonna call them all superstars because they really are. Um, we have four superstars on the field all at the same time. You can't put your focus on one guy or even two guys because somebody's going to be open, whether it's the check down to Joe Mixon or Dalton Schultz, or you have Stefon or Nico on a drag, or you have Tank Dell on a slant. You're always going to have somebody open. And with CJ Stroud, if he keeps it up like he did last year, we're going to be damn near close to unstoppable.
Yeah. So the wide receiver room, as it looks, so you got Stephon, Nico, Tank, Robert Woods, John Mechie, uh, Xavier Hutchinson, Steven Sims,
Yep.
and then probably some other guys that are just like reserve future contract guys. You know what I'm talking about?
Practice squad.
Practice squad guys like Alex Bachman or something. But I think that's a name on Madden I saw once as a practice. So I don't even know if that's a real person.
Some
But
backup of a
yeah,
backup.
exactly. So I think that there's definitely, hmm, I think there's a small chance that they still add to the room, but that would require moving somebody else, um, like a Steven Sims. Maybe during the preseason we find out if Damian Pierce is going to be for real involved in
Yeah,
the kick returning, and that'll kind of determine whether or not Steve Sims is expendable. But Robert Woods, I think, is the primary cut candidate. Saves him a little bit of cap money as well, so or trade.
I've also heard rumors. Don't know how true it is, but I saw it on my Facebook feed a couple weeks ago that the Cowboys are interested in Damian Pierce.
Yeah,
No, I
I,
don't know.
all they have on the roster right now is like Deuce Vaughn.
Hmm.
So, and I think Cowboys fans are just trying to find anybody at all. I don't think that they're actually interested. I feel like there would have been more buzz around it.
Yeah,
And if they were really desperate, like if they went through the whole draft and just forgot to get a running back,
yeah,
then maybe I think that would be more likely. But right now, it's really just Mixon and Pierce and then practice squad guys.
yeah,
So I mean, they really need to add somebody in that running back room. But
yeah. 'Cause
uh,
you
I
never
saw,
know what happens. I
yeah,
mean,
there's a Missouri running back, Corey Schroeder. He played phenomenal football last year. For those who don't remember, Missouri was like top ranked in the top 10 at like several different points last year. They whooped the hell out of Tennessee. Sorry. I always forget that everybody else is from Texas. Um, so he's got some speed and he's a big body dude. And I think he'd fit pretty well in the zone scheme. So I think he would be my running back of choice. I always like to go skill players out of the SEC. So that's
yeah,
just me. But so with the draft happening, I think it's like April 25th through the 28th or something.
yeah.
But with the draft around the corner, we all had thought at some point they'd add a wide receiver in the draft. We now know that seems less likely. First round or the first round picks traded back to the second. Is it still Sweat? And then like Pierce Paul or something, the tackle from the University of Houston?
I think so. We could still definitely use some depth on the IDOs. So I think so.
Okay. Do you think like I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this. Do you think that there's a scenario where they go corner in the second round?
It's
Or
possible.
maybe safety? I don't know how much cap money they've got left after this deal, but
Um,
I can't imagine that since Julian Blackman has re-signed as well, it really just kind of leaves Justin Simmons. Overthecap.com.
we have 18.5 million left.
Yeah, I would love to see them go after Simmons, but if they don't, I could see them making a pick in the second round for a defensive back, corner, or safety.
That would be
yeah.
Because I mean, Jalen Petrie, he had a decent year, but not as good as the year before.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he can just step up his game this year, that'll help over the top. And then, we could use another safety, some corners, because we're playing the NFC East this year. So, well, I think just one or two of them. So they got some pretty quick guys. And
I
then
think we're playing the entire NFC East because I
are
know
we?
that we play the Cowboys.
I didn't see the Eagles on our schedule.
Are they
I
not on
think
the schedule?
No, I think it's just the Giants and the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken.
Normally, if you're going to play two of the teams in the division,
Yeah,
you play all four.
That's what I would think. Texan schedule.
Yeah. I mean, we know the opponents, but we don't know the schedule.
Yeah, that's what I need to look at. So we got. Let's see. Our home teams. Our home games are Ravens, Bills, Dolphins, Bears, Lions, Colts, Jags, Titans.
So we played the NFC North, and then we have a one toss away game against the Cowboys on the road.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. And we also play the AFC East this year.
Yeah. Which
all the division opponents and then all the division winners.
I'll tell you what. I would love if we could play the Chiefs week 1.
Yeah, kind of get them sleeping.
Mm-hmm. If we can beat the defending Super Bowl champions in week 1, that would, I mean, every year the Chiefs start off rough, so I mean, it's not going to be like a whoop-de-doo, but it would I think it'd still mean a lot to the team considering that they are the defending Super Bowl champs.
Absolutely.
Now, if we can catch them, mid to late season, like week 12, 13, maybe 15 or 16, somewhere in that range, that would be a really good matchup time because then that's when the Chiefs are starting to become at their best and they're getting ready for playoffs. So, you're going to play the Chiefs at their best, most likely.
Yeah.
We'll
most likely mentality.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll be most likely coming up on our best at that point. So I think either week 1 or somewhere in that range, that'd be nice.
Yeah. We kind of talked about the preseason a little bit earlier, but For most teams this season, the preseason is 3 games. For the Texans this year, because we get to play the Hall of Fame game,
Yes,
we get
sir.
4. So a little bit more of team reflection as far as like figuring out who's going to make the roster. I think it's going to be huge because there's going to be a lot of things that kind of come down to the wire when it comes down to roster cuts. So what are your thoughts on playing the extra game? Are you worried about the opportunity for some of these guys to get hurt more or what? Do you even want starters to play in the preseason?
In my opinion, I don't think starters should play more than what they already do. So, that would give I would put did we re-sign Case Keenum? Or
He's
is
on the roster. Yeah.
he's still on
We've
the
got
roster?
we got him, Davis, and Tyler Boyle.
I thought Davis got traded.
No.
Okay. Well, I guess that we could give Davis Mills a shot. He did good as a backup last year compared to his first season. So I think giving Davis Mills that shot at the Hall of Fame game and maybe have CJ Stroud play in the fourth quarter just so he can get, get back into it. And then, as the preseason goes along, do your whole preseason thing.
Right.
So, I would try to minimalize having your starters play, especially the ones that are going to be big for the team. So, like Mechie, Hutchinson, and what was his name?
Steven Sims.
Yeah, Steven Sims. I would have them play, starters. I would have our O-line starters. I would kind of rotate our defensive line in. And then, same thing with like our corners and safeties, linebackers, stuff like that. Just so everybody can kind of, get back into the feel of, getting back into the preseason.
Yeah. I am of the other mind. I would prefer that every starter plays at least a drive in every preseason game. With whatever ramp up schedule that they have already. But I need them to play. I've seen the Tennessee Titans not play their starters in the preseason game and then show up week 1 against an inferior opponent and just shit the bed because everybody's flat as hell.
Yeah.
I with so much of that being seen, I'm good on that. I definitely don't want to see my starters not playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be crucial. That extra game is going to be crucial for the roster decisions. So
Yeah.
NFL kickoff rules. We were talking earlier about the special teams battle that's going on between Steven Sims and Damian Pierce, figuring out who's going to be doing what. The kickoff rule has changed. I believe people are starting off on like the kickers on one side of the field, everybody else on the other side of the field, like 10 yards away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to end the high-speed collision aspect of it and also add an element of like a higher likelihood of kickoff returns. So the goal is it'll probably work out like the last rule change did, where people just started trying to, I don't know, just concede a touchback or kick the ball to the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
And then let people try. But there was very rarely anybody taking the ball out of the end zone. Became such a conservative play, and most of the time it was just there for dressing.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt even Devin Hester would, be anywhere near Hall of Fame credibility if he was a rookie in 2023.
I agree. What the hell is your bubble? Sorry, I got I just got a puppy. She's in here with me. I agree with I don't think Devin Hester would be nearly as Hall of Fame worthy if he was a rookie nowadays.
Yeah.
Just because nothing. He was a physical He was a physical guy. So I mean, the way that the NFL is headed, I wouldn't be surprised if 10 years from now we were playing flag football.
Yeah, it's kind of the way it feels. Everybody's just gonna take their helmet off and
Mm-hmm. You got to ask the quarterback if he can sack you.
yeah. The hip
Hey,
drop tackle, another perfect segue there. The hip drop tackle rule, where you as the defender can't drop your hips to the ground and bring somebody down with your body weight, which is
that's
the dumbest possible rule change.
it's going to create so many broken tackles. It's
Yeah,
going to be insane.
the NFL for years has been trying to steer the entire league into higher points, higher points, higher points. That's why like TV ratings kept climbing after linemen were starting to be able to use their hands to block after defensive pass interference was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It basically gave the offense a chance. Before that, every football game was a defensive show.
Mm-hmm.
And
In my opinion, I love a defensive game. If it is scoreless until the fourth quarter, yes, it can get boring if it's like 3 and outs constantly. But if you're having a drive down to the 2-yard line and you get stuffed for 4 plays in a row, the other team drives down and you're just going back and forth like that, your offense is working. You just got to tweak it a little bit.
yeah.
And then in that fourth quarter, that's when it comes down to the wire. That's when it starts getting intense. And that's the football I like.
Yeah.
Because I like
Yeah.
that everybody starts getting more physical. Like people are trying to make plays. It's more intense, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the coaches start playing that violent chess game.
Yep.
It's always a good time. I think that's about it for tonight. Ronnie, do you have any closing comments?
Not that I can think of. I'm all empty.
Hell yeah. Stefon Diggs is a Houston Texan. Just needed to say it one more time. Folks, I'm going to go ahead and ask that you hit the thumbs up button and hit the notification bell, subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel. Ronnie, I want to thank you for being here tonight. Folks, I want to thank you guys for watching. Be good people.